Okay, folks, welcome to Grammar Wednesday. It's April 21st, 2020. This is volume 2 in this new weird world we're living in. Coming at you from my basement. I'll give you a quick panorama. I got to start, first of all, with today's song. Today's song is by Joel Plaskett. He's a Nova Scotia guy. The song's called Absent Minded Melody, and it's beautiful. It just sets the mood perfectly. It's also a bit of a shout out to everybody out in Nova Scotia who are going through a tough time right now after I'm sure what you heard about the shooting the other night. And anyway, awful news. But this is Joel Plaskett from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. He's a great singer-songwriter doing Absent-Minded Melody. I hope you can hear it in the background. So here's where I'm coming at you from. My basement. There's my big screen TV that I love. There's a little sort of whiteboard that my daughter Molly has been teaching school from since she was a little kid. Not anymore. She did it when she was little. There's sort of a panorama. Nothing too exciting. It's just sort of your typical Muskoka basement. There's some paintings my wife has done right there. There's Heather Sperling's originals. She'd like a tree and a sailboat. You could sort of see them there. There's a shot of me and all my friends when I was a little older than you. This is going to be hard to see, but I'll give it a try here. This Algonquin Park many years ago. That is me. That guy right there. Look at that. Look at that. That dude. Anyway, let's get underway. Emma, you got a phone call. Come and get your phone. Sorry, I've got multi devices going here. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to start with midterm marks. Make sure the tracking sheets get into me ASAP. Tracking sheets, put everything you've done on your tracking sheet from assignment 1 up until your most recent, and I'm going to work your marks up from there. Just so you know, I got your backs with your marks. I'm not going to be looking to punish anybody, or this is going to work out well. Don't worry. And it just so happens that you guys are a very good batch of writers, so everybody rest easy. Having said that, if there's any concerns, feel free to contact me. I will give you a quick update as what your mark is before I enter it, so you'll have a little bit of time to get back to me if there's any concerns, but I think we're going to be good. Item 2 is the new editing plan I've got. I'm just trying to get you guys to take a little more ownership over your writing. So I'm putting those X's. I'm only trying to put them in little places where if you write, I had a part-time job, you miss the hyphen, I put an X. Usually it's obvious. Or it'll be something where there's an apostrophe error or something that's obvious that I want to highlight and force you to kind of get in the process of fixing all that stuff. And I think it's going to work out fine. It's a little bit of a scavenger hunt, from your end, which shouldn't be too bad. Okay, next item is the new assignments that I've got for May. I put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With one that is mandatory. When I put down 8, that means you choose from those 8 and you do whatever you like. My hope is that the idea is you choose 4 of the 8. If you do 5 or 6 or whatever you like, just go ahead and choose from there, or choose off the grid. I'm okay with that, as you know, or come up with your own. I'm okay with that. As long as you're doing really good writing and you're into it, I'm happy. The first assignment is the pivot. I wrote about it a bit. I just wanted to let you know a little bit more info about it. That requires you to write about somebody else, not you. A pivotal moment in somebody's life that changed the course of their life. I think you'll get it. Great opportunity to talk to your mom or your dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, neighbor, boss, anybody who's had a pivotal moment. That pivotal moment is just the moment where everything changed because of that moment or that day or that decision. So I'll leave you with that. The next one I've got is called the little moments between the big ones. That's one that I love. That one. I already had somebody do it last week in this class, and it was one of the boys, and he wrote about a hockey trip. He wrote about his team going to Niagara Falls, and it was a tournament, and it was exciting, and there was a big moment, but his favorite moment of the whole trip was just hanging with his buddies in an arcade down in that little area where Niagara Falls has all of its games and stuff. But it's a lovely little piece, and I think it's a cool opportunity to put a moment under the microscope. And usually I think some of our favorite memories come from those little moments that aren't necessarily monumental, or they're not necessarily the things that people would think. Other little moments I've come across lately that people have written about. I'm just going to say it. I don't think she'll mind. Lily Whittle. Lily wrote a piece about the beauty of her parents dancing in the kitchen. It was just a small little short little piece, but it was lovely and it really captured something that is worth capturing. The moments where people are being themselves and they're home, they're comfortable with their people. It was beautiful. So there's a little shout out to Sandy and Jeff Whittle dancing in the living room, or sorry, dancing in the kitchen. Other little moments. Somebody else wrote a piece about the beauty of squeezing a hand 3 times. What that moment signifies. Somebody else wrote something about just a moment that painted a picture of a grandfather leaving their house in his pickup truck at the end of the driveway, and he gave a wave. And it was a small moment, but it seemed to be seared in this girl's memory. And she wrote about that, and I thought it was beautiful. So those little moments. The next assignment I've got is called Scars. I think you get it. Their scars are physical, they're emotional. It's good material. You could a guy I love who's a singer-songwriter, his name is Tom Wilson. He's in a band called Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. And Tom wrote a book I just read a few months ago, his autobiography called Beautiful Scars. Anyway, so Scars, that's that one. The next one is called the Growing Up Poem. That's where you look at your life and you write a beautiful poem about all the lovely stuff growing up. Then you flip it over upside down and, or I should say on the back of the page or whatever. And you write about some of the stuff that maybe wasn't so wonderful about growing up. So it's kind of like 2 poems. And it's a little bit of a binary assignment where you look at you look at the light and then you look at the darkness. The next one's called Volcanoes, or Volcano, I guess, and that one is just that's some of us are those volcanoes just waiting to erupt, and that moment of snap or eruption. I guess that's that one. Number 22. The next one is called Through Her Eyes or Through His Eyes. That's where you write as if you were someone else, and you're writing about something that they went through, but you're capturing things through their eyes. The next one is called Mask. I think you get it. The masks we all wear, depending on the setting and the people, and how some of us have the art of just being that same person everywhere we go. Others of us, we shift a little bit based on who we're around. So the mask. And the last one, I thought it was just a nice one to sort of reflect on at this time in your lives. It's called Fall Fair, Midnight Madness. It's a little bit of a love letter to your hometown or your hometowns, those and all the little things, all the traditions from your youth. The Fall Fair was like Wonderland when you were 9, and Midnight Madness was your first foray into freedom and wonder when you were 11 with your friends, and your parents said, "Go ahead and wander." So Fall Fair, Midnight Madness. You can go any other area with that. That sort of takes a snapshot of the little small town things growing up. Canada Day. You can bring in the movie theater into that. You can bring in how we live in a place where if people say they're going to Clarence's, we often know what that is. Or if they're going to the Morley's in Port Carling. Now I might have given this assignment already. I can't remember. If I did, whatever. If you didn't do it, think about doing it again. Okay, next item is I want to just take a little bit of time to go through some grammar stuff. This is where I just want to zip through. I hope you guys have this attachment that I sent you yesterday, which is this is Wednesday now, I guess, though I'm filming this on Tuesday. But I just sent you attachment, so it's called the Grammar Wednesday Midterm Test. I'm just going to go through a few things to make sure that there's no confusion. So I hope you have that in front of you. If not, pause, go grab it, okay? And you can either follow along now, or you can pause, do it, and come back in 10 minutes when you're done, or whatever the case may be. Anyway, I'm just going to go through the midterm test, a few things to make sure you're good with. I've actually got the answers to all these things right here on my whiteboard. Right there, and it's probably kind of readable, maybe not so much, but it looks a little bit, I think it's backwards. Oh well, whatever. So much for that. I'm just going to run through it. The first one, the girls' uniforms are in the laundry, 2 girls, GIRLS apostrophe, because there's 2 girls. The second one, the girls' soccer team won the tournament, 1 girl apostrophe S. Third one, number 3, my parents' house is up for sale. You got 2 parents, so it's parent S apostrophe. Number 4, the boy's bike wasn't stolen. Boy apostrophe S, only 1 boy. And wasn't needs the apostrophe and apostrophe T. 5, Luke's favorite movie is Wayne's World. Luke, E apostrophe S. And Wayne's World, Wayne, E apostrophe S. Number 6 asks you to solve the following. When you see a word that ends with an S, such as the word girls in question number 1 above, what 2 questions you need to ask yourself to determine if that word requires an apostrophe. So any word that ends in S, how do you know if it needs an apostrophe? Ask yourself, number 1, is it a contraction? Can't, wouldn't, shouldn't. It's. If that's the case, then you do need an apostrophe. And if not, you don't. And the other question is, does that word own what's coming after it? If so, Bob's house, B-O-B apostrophe S. The car's bumper, car apostrophe S. If it owns a bumper, apostrophe. Okay, the next chunk of those questions is punctuation, semicolon, colon, hyphen, and dash. Number 7, I'm just going to do them out loud. I'm basically giving you the answers here. So again, you can operate however you want. The house has the following features. Full colon, a 2-car garage, hyphen 2-car, an L-shaped living room, hyphenate L-shaped, an eat-in kitchen, hyphenate eat-in. 8, the coach has one rule that everyone has to, the coach has one rule that everyone has to follow. Always be on time. So after follow, you need a dash or a colon. They're both correct. Number 9, my son's favorite meal is lasagna. He has it every year on his birthday. After lasagna, semicolon. That's the big one I want you guys to know. So many people do this. My son's favorite meal is lasagna, comma. He has it every year on his birthday. That is a comma, splice, error. Get that out of your writing. You don't want to be tagged as the person who walking around who's making comma splice errors. My son's favorite meal is lasagna. Stop. Period. He has it every year on his birthday is correct. Or the other way. My son's favorite meal is lasagna. Semicolon. He has it every year on his birthday. So that's the big one. So if you're focusing on one thing besides the apostrophe, get that down. Number 10, in 1980, the music world was shaken by a tragic event. Dash, the death of John Lennon. Or colon, the death of John Lennon. They're interchangeable. More formal writing, colon. Less formal, dash. 11, Jane can play the following instruments. Full colon. Here comes a list. Piano, violin, guitar, and cello. There you go. I'm going to zip ahead to part C. Number 16. What is the rule that determines when you use an apostrophe for its? Only use an apostrophe for its when it's short for it is or it has. Done. So the dog wagged its tail. No apostrophe. It's not it is tail or it has tail. 17, circle the correct answer. The team lost its first game. ITS. 18, the I, me thing. See if you guys can get this. Most of you have it, but I'm still correcting these things after all this time. Mr. Ray and Mr. Bagshaw and, Mr. Ray asked Mr. Bagshaw and I to help him move, or Mr. Ray asked Mr. Bagshaw and me to help him move. Take out Bagshaw, and you'll get the answer. Now, don't really take out Bagshaw. He's a good guy. But you know, in this case, take him out of the sentence. Mr. Ray asked me to help him move. So the sentence should read, Mr. Ray asked Mr. Bagshaw and me to help him move. Now teach that to your parents because they don't know this. Trust me, they do not know this. Very few people do, and if you do, you'll elevate yourself to the world of grammar kings and queens, and your romantic lives will improve dramatically, and the world will be a better place. 19, Joe and I went to the concert, or Joe and me went to the concert. Well, Joe went to the concert, and I went to the concert, so it's Joe and I. 20, men's, women's, children's shoes. Men's, women's, children's. Always apostrophe S. MEN, apostrophe S. Women, apostrophe S. Children, apostrophe S. There you go. Okay, what's next? 21, Leah made fewer errors or less errors? Leah made fewer, because you can count them. 22, I asked Mom if I could borrow the car. Big M or little M on Mom? Big M, because it could be I asked Jane. If your mom's name is Jane and you put Mom in place of Jane, cap M. She told me to ask my dad, small d. She didn't tell me to ask my Brian or whatever. 23. The coach that had the biggest impact on him was Dan Blum. Or the coach who had the biggest impact on him was Dan Blum. The coach who. People are who. And there's a shout out to Dan Blum, one of Muskoka's famous sporting figures and a good man. And if you had him for hockey, I'm sure he scared the hell out of you because that's what Dan does. But he's got love in his heart, and he does it he does it all with the greater good in mind. Number 24, Ron's favorite decade for music is it's the third one on your sheet, apostrophe 80S, because it takes the place of 19. Number 25, is it irregardless of the weather or regardless of the weather? Always, always, always regardless. Get rid of irregardless for the rest of your lives. Okay, so that's all that. What else to talk about? I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I really, really want you guys to do the best you can to get in the writing process. It's strange times we're in, and I'm seeing so many awesome pieces. I got to say, I'm really enjoying it. It's so much more fun sitting there when I get up in the morning, reading your pieces and fiddling around with them than it is to mark an essay on Shakespeare. Believe me, it's 1,000 times more enjoyable. I love that I hear your voices in your writing. I love that you guys are getting better and smoother and more confident. I love that you're working out most of these little dinky errors that are they're settling in. I like that you're writing honestly. Last week, that write with vulnerability, I don't know what happened, but within 24 hours, I had about at least a dozen of you who went down that road and wrote some amazing pieces. Some of them are on the bulletin board, and they're great. If you haven't been checking that bulletin board out, check it out. It's awesome. I hope you guys don't mind. I shared it with Ms. Smith, Jen Smith. She asked me if she could read some. And Miss Walker. Now, if there's a problem, let me know. Maybe I shouldn't have done that so quickly, but it just came up in a conversation, and I know Miss Smith said she's just loving them. But they are great, and I really hope you guys read each other's, and I hope you comment back and forth. I also hope that you send me a bunch more. It's just a great thing to do, to be able to pass some time and hear other people's stories. What else? I hope you guys are doing okay. Sorry about the whole getting ripped off about prom and commencement night and that stuff. Who knows? Maybe something will happen along those lines. I mean, everything's up in the air right now, but it is not. It's not. It's just not a. I don't know. What was I going to say there? I was going to say it's not looking good as much as I was going to say it's just a lousy deal, and I feel bad for you because it's a nice way to celebrate, and I'm sure we'll find a way to make it happen that may not be as timely, but we will. Anyway, hope everybody's doing all right. Don't be afraid to ever throw me a phone call or a text or a message, whatever. I love hearing from you. And I guess Absent-Minded Melody by Joel Plaskett. Check out Joel. He's great. And I guess that's it for Grammar Wednesday for this edition. Keep well and take care. Miss you all. Bye-bye.